Corrupted vows. Dark romance. They say revenge is a dish best served cold. But when Alessandra Romano walked into Dante Moretti's casino that Friday night, wearing a dress that clung to every curve like sin itself, there was nothing cold about the fire that ignited between them. She hated him. God, how she hated him. 3 years ago, Dante had destroyed her father's business empire, leaving the Romano family in ruins. Her father died of a heart attack 6 months later, and Alessandra blamed only one man, the ruthless billionaire who now stood across the poker table, his dark eyes raking over her body like he owned every inch of it. Miss Romano, his voice was smooth whiskey and smoke. I didn't expect to see you here. Slumming with the enemy. She met his gaze, refusing to look away even as he pulled low in her belly. I'm here to win back what you stole, Moretti. A cruel smile curved his lips. Everything has a price, Bella. The question is, what are you willing to pay? The game began at midnight. Alessandra had spent 3 years learning poker, preparing for this moment. Every hand, every bluff, every calculated risk, all to destroy the man who destroyed her family. But Dante played differently. He watched her with predatory focus, his attention making her skin prickle with unwanted awareness. When she won the first hand, his smile widened. You're good, he murmured, leaning closer. But I wonder, are you good at other things too? Keep your filthy thoughts to yourself. Oh, Tesoro, my thoughts are far filthier than you can imagine. His voice dropped lower, intimate despite the crowd around them. I'm thinking about that pretty mouth. Those defiant eyes. What you'd look like on your knees, begging. Her core clenched traitorously. I'd never beg you for anything. We'll see. By 2 a.m., the stakes had risen impossibly high. Alessandra was winning barely. One more hand and she'd own enough shares to vote him out of his own company. But then Dante made an offer that stopped her heart. One final hand, he said, his eyes gleaming with dark promise. Winner takes all. But if I win, Alessandra, you give me one night. Complete surrender. Your body, your pleasure, mine to command until sunrise. The room went silent. Everyone waited for her response. She should walk away, should take her winnings and run. But the chance to destroy him completely, to take everything he'd built. And when I win, she demanded. Everything. My company, my properties, my fortune. All yours. Her hands trembled as she picked up her cards. This was it. Her moment of vengeance. She lost. Dante's penthouse overlooked the city like a kingdom of lights and shadows. Alessandra stood by the floor-to-ceiling windows, her reflection ghostly against the darkness, as he poured 2 glasses of bourbon. You cheated, she said, her voice hollow. I didn't need to. He handed her a glass, his fingers brushing hers with deliberate slowness. You were too angry to think clearly. Rage makes you reckless, Bella. I've been watching you for weeks, studying every tell, every micro-expression. You bastard. That's not the safe word. He circled her slowly, a predator savoring his captured prey. But we'll get to that. I'm not doing this. She moved toward the door, but he was faster, his body caging her against the wall. Not touching, but close enough that she felt his heat, breathed in his intoxicating scent, expensive cologne and something rawly masculine. You made a deal, Alessandra. And Romanos are honorable, aren't they? Even when they're drowning in debt, even when they're one bad investment from losing everything including that little art gallery you've been struggling to keep open. She froze. How do you? I know everything about you. What time you wake up. How you take your coffee. That you touch yourself at night thinking about revenge. His lips hovered near her ear. But lately you've been thinking about something else. Someone else. You're delusional. His hand came up, fingers trailing along her jaw without quite touching. Am I? Then why is your pulse racing? Why are your pupils dilated? Why can I smell how wet you are for me? A whimper escaped before she could stop it. There it is, he whispered darkly. The truth your body can't hide. You hate me, but you want me more. She wasn't sure who moved first. Maybe they both did. But suddenly his mouth was on hers, savage and demanding, and she was kissing him back with 3 years of rage and frustration and unwanted desire. He tasted like bourbon and sin. His hands gripped her hips, lifting her effortlessly, and she wrapped her legs around him as he carried her toward the bedroom. I hate you, she gasped between kisses. I know. He bit her lower lip, soothing it with his tongue. Hate me while I make you scream. He threw her on the bed, massive, dark, sinfully soft. She bounced once, and he was on her, his weight pressing her into the mattress as his mouth claimed hers again. His hands found the zipper of her dress, dragging it down with agonizing slowness. Tell me to stop, Alessandra. Use your safe word. Say, mercy, and I'll let you walk out of here. She stared up at him, chest heaving. The word was right there, on her tongue. But when she opened her mouth, something else came out. Don't you dare stop. His smile was wicked. As you wish. He peeled the dress from her body like unwrapping a gift, his eyes darkening as he revealed her lace lingerie, black, barely there, chosen for confidence, not for him. But the way he looked at her made her feel like she'd worn it specifically for this moment. Bellissima, he murmured, his fingers tracing the edge of her bra, the curve of her breast. I'm going to taste every inch of you. And you're going to come on my tongue before I even think about giving you anything else. Her back arched involuntarily. Dante. That's right. Say my name. Let everyone in this building know who's making you feel this good. He kissed down her neck, teeth grazing her pulse point, making her gasp. His mouth moved lower, tongue swirling around her pearled bud through the lace, the friction making her mindless with need. Please. Please what? He looked up at her, eyes molten. I want to hear you beg, Tesoro. I want every filthy thought, every desperate plea. I can't. He bit down gently on her sensitive peak, and she cried out. You can. And you will. He removed her bra with practiced ease, his mouth immediately claiming her bare flesh, sucking and licking and driving her absolutely insane. Her hands fisted in his hair, holding him to her, and he groaned against her skin. That's it, he encouraged. Take what you need. Use me. His hand slid down her stomach, fingers hooking into her panties. He dragged them down her legs, tossing them aside, and then he was spreading her thighs, settling between them like he belonged there. Look at you, he breathed, his gaze hungry. So pink. So perfect. So ready for me. The first touch of his tongue made her see stars. He licked her slowly, thoroughly, like she was the finest dessert he'd ever tasted. His hands gripped her thighs, holding her open as he devoured her, tongue circling her pearl before dipping inside her heat. Oh God, Dante. He hummed against her, the vibration sending shockwaves through her system. His tongue found her most sensitive spot and stayed there, flicking and circling with perfect pressure. While two fingers slid inside her, curling to find that magic spot. The pleasure built impossibly fast, coiling tighter and tighter in her core. She thrashed against the sheets, hands clutching at anything, everything, as he drove her higher. Come for me, Alessandra. Let me feel you fall apart. His command shattered her. The climax ripped through her body like lightning, making her scream his name, back arching off the bed as wave after wave of ecstasy crashed over her. He didn't stop. He kept licking, kept stroking, wringing every last tremor from her until she was boneless and gasping. When she could finally think again, he was standing at the foot of the bed, slowly removing his clothes. His body was a work of art, all hard muscle and tan skin, with scars that spoke of a dangerous past. And when he freed himself from his pants, her breath caught. He was huge, thick and hard and ready, and she wasn't sure how he'd possibly fit. He saw her expression and smiled darkly. Don't worry, Bella. You'll take every inch. And you'll love it. He reached into the nightstand, producing a foil packet. She watched, mesmerized, as he rolled the protection on, stroking himself once, twice. Then he was crawling over her, positioning himself between her thighs. The blunt head of him pressed against her entrance, and she tensed. Relax, he murmured, kissing her softly. I've got you. He pushed forward slowly, giving her time to adjust, and the stretch was intense. Overwhelming. Perfect. More, she begged, her nails raking down his back. He thrust deeper, seating himself fully inside her with a groan that sounded like prayer and curse combined. So tight. So perfect. Like you were made for me. He started to move, slow and deep, each stroke making her see heaven. His hand slid between them, fingers finding her pearl, circling in time with his thrusts. I want to feel you come around me, he growled. Squeeze me. Milk me. Show me how good I make you feel. She couldn't speak, could only moan and writhe beneath him as he took her higher. His pace increased, harder, faster, the headboard slamming against the wall as he claimed her completely. Mine, he snarled, his control fracturing. Say it. Say you're mine. She should refuse. Should cling to her pride. But her body had other ideas. Yours, she gasped. God, Dante, I'm yours. Her second climax hit like a tsunami, and she screamed, her inner walls clenching around him rhythmically. He followed her over the edge with a roar, his body shuddering as he emptied himself inside her. They lay tangled together, sweat slicked and breathless. Reality crept back slowly, and with it, horror at what she'd done. She'd slept with the enemy. Worse, she'd loved every second. I need to leave, she said, trying to pull away. His arms tightened around her. No. The deal was one night. The sun hasn't risen yet. He tilted her face toward the windows, where the sky was still dark. We have hours left, Alessandra. And I'm nowhere near done with you. Before she could protest, he was kissing her again, his hand sliding between her thighs, finding her still sensitive flesh. Dante, I can't. You can. He rolled her onto her stomach, pulling her hips up. And you will. Again and again until the only name you remember is mine. He took her 3 more times that night. Against the window with the city as witness. In the shower with water cascading over their bodies. Finally, in the early hours before dawn, slow and tender, face to face, his eyes locked on hers as if memorizing every expression. When the first light touched the horizon, she finally dressed, her body deliciously sore, her mind reeling. This changes nothing, she said, even though it changed everything. Dante smiled, dangerous and knowing. If that helps you sleep at night, Tessero. But we both know the truth. Which is. He pulled her close, his lips brushing her ear. This isn't over. Not by a long shot. You're in my blood now, Alessandra Romano. And I always keep what's mine. She should argue. Should run. But as she walked out of his penthouse into the morning light, she couldn't shake the feeling that she'd just made a deal far more binding than any poker game. She came for revenge. But she left with something far more dangerous. An obsession that matched his own.